I had a pet fish a few times, a few short-lived times. As I recall, there were some goldfish when I was little. And then at some point in my teenage years, I was given as a gift this betta fish swimming in a vase with a plant on top of it. I think I was told that the fish would feed off the roots of the plant in a symbiotic relationship representing, I don't know, something nice. I don't remember. I'm not great with fish. The water went stale and toxic quickly due to my lack of, well, I didn't care for those fish. I didn't actively love the fish by doing simple things like changing their water. They quickly found themselves swimming in a toxic, loveless soup, eventually belly up. Suffice to say, I never invested in a big aquarium or any fancy fish equipment. My fish parenting days were flushed away. But those little swimming theologians taught me some deep lessons along the way. Their memory is a blessing. I learned that the water you swim in matters. Here's what I mean. I assume you are a good person. I assume you are a kind, well-intentioned, love-filled, magnificent person. Actually, I don't assume those things. I deeply believe those things. The people who raised me believe those things about me. I learned to instinctually love people because I was loved as a child. I swam in a childhood of love and grace and assumptions of goodness. I realize I'm lucky. I realize not everyone grew up with an assumption of goodness surrounding them. A lot of folks had the opposite. I talk with a lot of people who grew up swimming in an ocean of guilt and shame. The voices in their lives often spoke assumptions of suspicion and disappointment into them. The water of their life was tainted with a toxic assumption of sin. It's hard to thrive in that environment. When you're swimming in a world filled with fear and shame, you'll quickly go into survival mode. Scarcity leads us to be scared of each other. A culture that feels like dead water leads us to deaden our empathy for each other. Assuming people are bad, distrustfully looming over people, suspiciously questioning people's intentions, these small behaviors cast big, dark shadows on the environments we share. And they make it easy for the things that grow in the dark, infectious, festering things, to secretly grow and spread. Those shadows make it hard for the water of our world to stay fresh, for it to stay alive. These shadows make it hard for living water to freely flow through our lives. There are a whole bunch of references to water, and especially the concept of living water throughout the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament. There's this one vision shared by the prophet Ezekiel that I love. Ezekiel talks about a future when water starts as a trickle from beneath a new temple, and it builds and builds into a stream and then a roaring river. Wherever the river flows, Ezekiel writes, everything will live. Fish will abound in the Dead Sea, for its waters will become fresh. Life will flourish wherever this water flows. That's from Ezekiel 47. At a time when our culture is drowning in a toxic soup of shadow-darkened shame water, at a time when we find ourselves swimming for our lives in a culture of suspicion and distrust, we can be the fresh living water the people in our lives need in order to thrive again. We can be the flowing stream of grace and love and hope our culture needs to cleanse itself of the guilt and shame it grew up with. We can be the roaring river that rushes into people's lives and floods them unconditionally with the belief in their magnificence and their innate goodness. Life will flourish wherever this water flows. Amen. Here's a short blessing. Loving God of unconditional and infinite grace, flow through us. Help us cleanse the world around us with simple gestures of our deep belief in the goodness of others. Help us carefully filter and sift the shame and guilt out of the water in which we swim alongside our brothers, sisters, and siblings. Refresh us with your presence. Amen. Hey, Between is about you. Take this message into your life this week and fill the space between you and every person you encounter with your sacred light. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.